I'm broken. Ever say these words to yourself? Ever believe them? For how long? The words I am are the most powerful words in human language because they speak right to our core beliefs. And if you've been walking around believing you're broken, damaged by your past, ruined by someone else, or fundamentally flawed, that belief is quietly running life in ways you probably don't even realize. I'm Coach Dave, and I've been helping people cultivate mental and metabolic health for over 10 years. Most people think beliefs function like guardrails or boundaries that govern our conscious thoughts and behavior. And sure, that's a big part of it, but it goes way deeper than that. Beliefs filter our perceptions before we're even aware that we're having them. Think about that for a second. The world looks the way it does to you because of the beliefs you hold to be true. Beliefs are the lens through which you perceive your existence. So if you believe you're broken, you're not just thinking broken thoughts or acting in broken ways, you're literally, that is to say metaphorically, perceiving the world through a broken lens. That job interview, that relationship, that opportunity, they all get filtered through I'm broken before you even register what's happening. So where do beliefs like this even come from? When we're young, beliefs are handed to us. Parents, teachers, culture, people we admire, people we trust. Somewhere along the line, someone we recognize as a person of influence says something and we accept it as right or true. When that happens, we subconsciously make an agreement with ourselves to live in accordance with it. We act as if it were true, and we integrate their words into our personal credo. The word credo comes from the Latin for I believe. It means a statement of a person's core beliefs, guiding principles, or values. Basically, it's your belief system. The problem? We're too young to evaluate whether what they said is actually true. We just accept it. And then we spend the next 20, 30, or 40 years living as if it were true. As we mature, it is incumbent upon us to examine the veracity of our beliefs, to figure out if they actually conform to objective reality beyond the confines of our subjective experience, and if they're serving not only us here in the present, but those around us over the course of our lives, including our future selves. See, a false belief is like a curse. In our example here, you think the curse is, they broke me, or I'm broken. That an external force or person is the reason for the way your life has turned out. But the curse is not the curse. The curse is believing it's true. Because when you believe something, it affects more than your thoughts and behaviors. Your beliefs affect your perceptions and shape your felt experience in each and every moment. A curse works not because the words themselves hold some mystical power, and not because the words themselves are even true. The words are just words. A curse works because we believe the words are true. Carl Jung said it perfectly. Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. That fate you think you're living, that's just an unexamined belief running on autopilot. So I've got two examples from my own life that illustrate this at a couple of different levels. The first example, I used to think cooking was tedious and I just did not enjoy it at all. Consequently, I never got good at it. Lots of cereal, lots of prepared foods. And then my son needed an organ transplant and we had to move to California for a few months to wait for it. All of our nutritional needs were suddenly in my hands alone. I could have resented it, but instead I decided to renegotiate my agreement. I decided to believe that cooking delicious, healthful food is one of the most noble, generous, and productive things a person can do with his time, for himself or anyone else. And then I asked myself, okay, if I were a really good cook who actually enjoyed doing this, what groceries would I be buying and which dishes would I be preparing? And then I acted as if it were true. And guess what? My cooking improved dramatically, as did my perceived experience of cooking, almost immediately. A second example, about 10 years ago, I entered a season where I battled anxiety that was eroding my life. And this lasted for about 3 years. During that time, a friend who empathized with what I was going through recommended the Headspace app, which helped stabilize my felt experience in the moment. And then I discovered Jon Kabat-Zinn's work, especially his book, Full Catastrophe Living, and decided to try his MBSR protocol. That's mindfulness-based stress reduction, which is an 8-week daily meditation program. During that experience, I had a breakthrough. I am not my thoughts. I am the observer of my thoughts, and I am the director of my attention. You see, I used to believe I was my thoughts, that they reflected who I was, my true identity. And if I had bad thoughts, it must mean I was a bad person. And I would get caught up with contending with them and wrestling or suppressing or trying to force a correction or just drowning in them. But through meditation, I discovered that our mind is constantly churning thoughts into our field of awareness nonstop, and that most of these thoughts simply do not merit our attention. Further, I learned I could release distracting thoughts and redirect my attention at will. I realized that it was possible to observe a thought, say, that thought doesn't need to be thought about right now, and simply let it go, like a cloud floating away or a leaf in a river. There was no longer a need to try to catch every cloud or retrieve and examine every leaf. I could simply let them float away. And I realized if I can do that with these thoughts, I can do that with any thoughts. And that literally changed my life. And I do mean literally this time. Now, some of you might be thinking, what, I'm just supposed to believe something different and I'll feel better? That sounds like toxic positivity. Let me be clear. I'm not suggesting the process is easy, but it is simple. If you believe you're broken, you're going to feel broken. And those feelings are real. That learned helplessness, that sense that you have no agency, that nothing you do makes any difference, that feels real too. And those feelings only reinforce the false belief. It is a vicious cycle. What I'm suggesting is that beliefs are just agreements we make with ourselves about what we decide is true. And those agreements can be renegotiated. The conundrum is that all of our unchallenged beliefs and the feelings that attend them are ingrained as habits. Habits of behaving, habits of thinking, and habits of feeling and emoting. Those habits are going to fight the process. It's going to be challenging. And for some beliefs, it's going to be the work of a lifetime. But it's work worth doing. So how do you rewrite false beliefs? How do you break a curse? Before we dig in, a disclaimer. This is not medical or psychiatric advice. This is just what I've learned on my own journey. If you feel like you need professional support, do not hesitate to pursue it. And I mean that. Okay, first, awareness and responsibility. You have to see the belief for what it is, a bad agreement you made, probably when you were too young to know better. And you have to accept that you're the only one who can do anything about it. Second, identify the belief. Use a journal. Reflect on an area of your life where you feel stuck or where you keep getting results you don't want. Do some honest introspection on what might be holding you back. Listen to your inner dialogue, that inner critic. What is it telling you? Listen to your body. What is your body trying to tell you that you've been ignoring? Often what you'll hear is the belief that's been holding you back. Third, ask yourself, what if I decide, and then fill in the false beliefs opposite, or at least an alternative. So instead of I am broken, ask, what if I decide I am whole? Instead of I'm unlovable, ask, what if I am lovable? Instead of I don't belong, ask, what if I do belong? Or what if I'm free to be me wherever I am? Instead of, I'll never do that, ask, what if I am capable? Or what if I choose to become the one who is capable? These possibilities are endless and as unique as the person considering them. Fourth, make the new agreement. Once you've landed on your what if I decide question, make it so. Remove the what if from the question and say it out loud as a declaration. Settle on a new belief and then act as if it were true. Allow the new belief to govern your thoughts and behaviors. Hold yourself accountable, and over time, that repetition will produce new habits of thinking, feeling, and behaving that will start to produce new results in your life. And when the old belief rears its ugly head, and it will, especially if you've been running the old program for decades, just say, I see you. You don't belong here anymore. Release the old belief over and over again if necessary, and remind yourself of the new one. If you really want to go deeper, start a meditation practice. There are a ton of apps out there. Download one and do a free trial. Or if you want to go full MBSR like I did, look up Jon Kabat-Zinn's protocol from his book, Full Catastrophe Living, and the accompanying Audible, which is called Guided Mindfulness Meditation Series 1. If you go the full 8 weeks, it will change your life. See, the way we live our lives produces the results that become our life. But what we believe about our life, combined with our personality, produces the way that we live it. If we're unsatisfied with the results we're producing, we have to examine the way we're living. And if we're unsure about the way, then we have to examine our beliefs. Remember, beliefs can be renegotiated and rewritten. Want the new experience? Decide on a new belief. Negotiate a new agreement with yourself. And be careful what you say after the words, I am. You're not broken. You never were. You just believed you were. And now you can believe something different. I hope this is helpful. If it is, please share it with someone you care about. And I'd love to hear your thoughts and stories in the comments below. This is the kind of thing I'm writing about in my new book, which will be released later this year. In the meantime, if working with me on your health goals is something you'd like to explore, visit mycoachdave.net and click Explore.